It's the $45 million question everyone wants to know. What happened to Todd Gurley? Welcome to the Fantasy Headliners, guys. I'm your host, Ryan O'Connell, and today we're going to be discussing Todd Gurley, whether he's injured, what happened to him, and why are the Rams trying to cover this up. Some big implications is possible trade rumors. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to cover up so they don't lose a draft pick because you're supposed to disclose injuries to the NFL. With all that said, let's dive into this and let's cover some of the basis of these accusations. The biggest rumor I want to talk about first is whether or not Todd Gurley is injured. Now, we have this tweet of Todd Gurley admitting that he got an MRI after the Philly game. That's when this supposed injury happened. I went back and actually watched the game, and if you take a look, he took a pretty big blow early in the game against Philadelphia, and you just see him kind of hobbling around in the third and fourth quarter where he eventually comes out of the game. 2 days later, they signed C.J. Anderson. Now, he says he's fine after the Philly game, but we can tell there's something not right with him. And I'm going to dive into his production and usage here in a little bit, but let's just take a look at some of the statements that are being made by his own teammate, C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson goes out and says, Todd Gurley's knee injury was worse than the Rams initially thought. Okay, well, that's everything we know already. I mean, you just take one look at him and how he's been playing compared to the beginning of the season. That's not the Todd Gurley we know. The Todd Gurley we know is this elite premier running back, and in the postseason and in the Super Bowl especially, he definitely was not. Now, he was definitely underutilized. Now, I don't know if the coach doesn't like Todd Gurley anymore or simply maybe he's hurt. At any rate, the organization told C.J. Anderson, you better retract those statements. So a couple days later, C.J. Anderson goes out and says, hold the phone, guys. Let me clarify. What I really meant is I didn't know he was that hurt initially when I signed with the Rams. Okay, C.J., whatever you say. If you just take a look at the game tape and how he played and how he moves along and how he moves compared to prior in the season, it's all out there for the open. Todd Gurley is hurt. I'm putting it out there. That's my claim. I think he has a sprained MCL, ACL. It's his left knee that's really hurting him, and it's something we need to pay attention to. So let's get into this next slide, and let's find out what really happened to Todd Gurley. This is his usage since Week 15 against the Eagles. Now, against the Eagles, he had a phenomenal game. Only 12 rushing attempts, but he had 10 receptions, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, sweet. We're happy with that. That's normal Todd Gurley production. Not exactly what you like to see on the ground, but 10 receptions, we're cool. Now, he goes out, he gets MRI. The Rams go out and sign C.J. Anderson 2 days after this game. That's a huge red flag for me right there. That lets me know, hey, Todd might not be 100% for this postseason. We might want to go out there and find a guy that can kind of carry this load for him and help him get healthy. Understandable, whether it's minor or severe, that's a good business decision to go out and get some support for your starting running back. Now, in Week 16 and 17, he did not play. Now, against the Cowboys, he comes back, and C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley both really carried that Rams offense to a victory. Great win for them. Now, let's take a look at his usage in that game. He only had 16 rushing attempts and 2 receptions. So definitely not the workload we're used to seeing, but great efficiency. So maybe he's not quite 100%, but he's looking good to us. And then we go on against the Saints. The Saints, they have a very tough rush defense, but Todd Gurley's only used he only touches the ball a total of 5 times, 4 rushing attempts for 10 yards and 1 reception for 3 yards. Okay. Now I'm starting to get a little worried again, guys. And then you go to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Out of all games, I don't care how hurt you are, if it's not going to alter your career and it's just a pain threshold thing, you're going to go out there and you're going to give it your all. And you only give Todd Gurley 10 rushing attempts and 1 reception, a total of 11 touches, in a game where you literally have to win or go home. It's for the Super Bowl. And they only allowed Todd Gurley, their best asset on their team, to touch the ball 11 times. That's another big red flag for me. That tells me they're not confident in what's going on with his knee. So that leads me to believe that either A, they know he's injured and they're trying to hide it so they don't potentially lose a draft pick, because you're supposed to report these kinds of injuries. And Sean McVay confidently went out there and said, no, Todd Gurley is 100%. He's going to be good to go for the Super Bowl and all that, this and that. I don't think so, Sean. And the other implication is maybe they're trying to say he's healthy so they could potentially trade him in the offseason. Now, this makes a lot of sense for me, because if you look at the Rams cap space for 2019, they have just under $30 million available in cap space. Now, they have expiring contracts with Sue, Dante Fowler, LaMarcus Joyner, Corey Littleton, and C.J. Anderson. Not to mention all the future contracts coming up in 2019 that are due to expire, like Talib, Marcus Peters, and potentially Jared Goff if they do not exercise that fifth-year option. So needless to say, they have a lot of superstars with expiring contracts in the next year or two, and they have very limited cap space. And they just signed Todd Gurley to a $45 million deal. So what's going on, Rams? Are you going to trade him, or is he really injured? So what do you guys think is really going on with Todd Gurley? Do you guys think he's hurt? You think they're just saving him to trade him in the offseason? I don't think so. I think he's definitely got a sprained ACL, maybe more severe. They're just trying to let him heal in the offseason, try to keep things under wraps, because they definitely effed up by not telling their fans and the public, oh, Todd Gurley's hurt. He's not going to be able to play in the Super Bowl. And if he had a sprained ACL and you put him in that situation, you're dumb for doing that in the first place. And if he was healthy and you didn't use him in the Super Bowl, maybe Sean McVay is not the genius we all think he is. So down below in the comment section, let me know what you guys think and what the implications are for Todd Gurley moving forward. Is he going to get traded? I know they need to move some of that cap space around to keep all this talent in-house. If not, they're going to have a lot of superstar free agents this offseason. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is just another episode from the Fantasy Headliners, where we give you all the news and coverage that you need to know all season and off-season long. Make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Ryan O'Connell, signing out.